Welcome to you plus 2 first year chemistry class. Last class I have discussed something about the terms valency, atomic mass, atomic number, radicals, acid radical, basic radicals. I hope you have already go through that in your textbook. Today I will going to discuss something about chemical equation, and with respect to that, the chemical equation is the symbolical or the shortened representation of a true chemical reaction in terms of symbols and formulae. माने गोटे रासायनिक प्रतिक्रिया को सिंबल एवं फॉर्मूला माध्यम रे संक्षेप रे प्रकाश करिवार कथाटा को आमे कहूचे केमिकल इक्वेशन. एज फॉर एग्जांपल, when sodium carbonate is treated with HCl, hydrochloric acid. जदि आमे हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड रे लुगा धुआ सोडा पकेवा कौन हुए ना सेठी भुरुभुरु होई अंगारकाम्ल गैस बाहर एवं ता भितरे किछिटा चेंज हुए. तो एई कथाटा को आमे जदि सिंबल फॉर्मूला रे एक्सप्रेस करिवा लेखिबा शॉर्ट हैंड रिप्रेजेंटेशन. सो केमिकल इक्वेशन is the shortened representation, संक्षिप्त प्रकाश, of a true chemical reaction in terms of symbols and formulae. So it is the shorthand representation, of a true chemical reaction, which is written by the help of symbols and formulae. Formula, you know formula sodium carbonate, let's say Na2CO3. Formula means in plural form, sodium carbonate plus hydrochloric acid gives rise to sodium chloride plus water plus carbon dioxide. This is a true chemical reaction and it is written by the help of all formulas. Sodium carbonate Na2CO3, hydrochloric acid, NaCl, H2 and CO2. In this case, when we are talking about the sodium carbonate and HCl, जतले sodium carbonate और HCl कथा कहबा, they are the reactants, प्रतिकारक. एमाने रिएक्शन करूचंती एवं फल उत्पाद कोन ना NaCl और water carbon dioxide. So these are called reactants. And reactants are always written in the left hand side, and these are the products, prati utpada ba products. These are written in the outside, in the right hand side, and if more than one reactant and product are involved, then they are written by the help of plus sign, and these two are separated by an arrow mark, or when it is balanced may be written as equal sign, given equal sign. So here sodium carbonate, HCl, NaCl and like this. But when we are talking about the types of reaction, here this is called chemical reaction by equation which is not balanced. Means number of each kind of atoms in both sides are not equal. धरा जो एपटे सोडियम दुईटा अच्छी बाबू एपटे सोडियम गोटे अच्छी. So they are not same number. When we equalize these two, then that equation becomes a balanced chemical equation. So here the types of chemical reaction are Number 1, these are called skeleton equation. Number 2, balanced equation. Number 3, atomic equation. Number 4, molecular equation. Molecular equation. So now discuss one by one. The skeleton equation means number of atoms of reactant and products of same kind are not same both sides. ता माने रिएक्टेंट रे जो जो एटम जतरा जतरा अछि प्रोडक्ट रे सेही से एटम सतरा सतरा थाई न पारे बा नथिबो सको हमें कहया कोन ना skeleton equation means they are not balanced. When this Na2, if you balance it, then you give the suitable integer like here 2, and to balance this HCl you can give 2 here. Then it is said to be balanced chemical equation. Then this is called balanced chemical equation because all the number of atoms of each kind of the reactant are equal to number of atoms of each kind in the product, same kind in the product. बाँ पटरे जो जो एटम जतरा जतरा अच्छी डाहाना पटरे सही से एटम जो सतरा सतरा रहे ताको आमे कहूँ balanced chemical equation. Then what is atomic equation? In some cases we have to cross over some equations like this. Let's say 2HCl plus O, it will become H2O plus Cl2. This is a one type of equation. Here it is said hydrochloric acid when get oxidized means is added with oxygen, atomic oxygen, then you get water and chlorine. In this equation, here oxygen in the atomic form, but its actual form is molecular. It is written in atomic form. Therefore, this equation is said to be an atomic equation because the atom is involved in the reaction, not molecule. When this equation again made into molecular form, then we call it molecular equation. Like HCl plus oxygen, you can write H2O plus Cl2. This is molecular equation, but is to you have to balance means here you have to give 4H2 and here you have to give 2 water and here you have to give 2 to balance it. Suitable integers are given. Here the all number of atoms in each kinds reactant and product side are same, and the atomic form of oxygen again reappear as molecular form. Therefore, it is a molecular equation. Means the atomic form is not there, it is a molecular form. Then now, what is the necessity of this type of equations and which is more important? Let's say, we can say a chemical equation, its correctness can be judged. How? In a chemical equation, we have to judge whether all the reactant and product are written in the symbols and formulae. And in the chemical equation, the reactant and product side must be separated by the positive side, and again all are in the molecular form. Therefore, the necessary and sufficient condition for a true chemical equation is that the reaction must be true one, number one. That means we cannot hypothetically say any reaction. काल्पनिक भाव में कही परियन जे कोन गोटे विषेधिक रिएक्शन हला, that must be carried out in the laboratory or can be observed. So that is called true chemical equation. So true chemical equation रे हमको देखिबा जे रिएक्टेंट प्रोडक्ट वास्तव रे होउथुव, रिएक्टेंट रिएक्शन करथुव, प्रोडक्ट बाहरथुव. Number 1. Number 2, all the reactant and symbols are written in their symbols, all the reactant and products are written in their symbols and formulae. Number 3, that must be balanced. Number 4, that must be molecular. No atomic form is to be involved. Therefore, balanced molecular equation has a number of importance in our chemistry or in chemical stoichiometric calculation. Different formula problem करिया पाई chemical equation को बेस करी आमे आगु को देखिबा how it is helpful. Now let us suggest something about the chemical equation and the utility. What is the utility of chemical equation? What it signifies? What a chemical equation signifies? You can say a chemical equation signifies in brief the reactant and the product, and it must be, or you can also very well written that sodium carbonate when react with HCl will give NaCl, carbon dioxide and water. Here the number of molecules in a balance equation, what you can say, the number of molecules of sodium carbonate needs 2 molecules of HCl. That can give some quantitative relation, means ketata reaction koruchundi kon ketara baharuchundi. So name of the reactant and the name of the product can be known very well from the chemical equation. Number 2, number of atoms or molecules involved in the reactant and the number of atoms or the molecules formed in the product side. Product side ketna bahuchi, ketna mein nahi che. So mass of the reactant again can be considered. Again here 1 molecule of Na2CO3 means its molecular mass when it will be calculated, it will be 106 AMU, let's say. And this can say, and here is carbon dioxide, let's say 44 AMU, let's say. So then we can say when 106 gram of sodium carbonate dissolved in HCl, ଯେତେବେଳେ 106 ଗ୍ରାମର ସୋଡ଼ିୟମ କାର୍ବୋନେଟ୍କୁ HCl ଆମେ ଡିଜଲ୍ଭ କରିବା, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ କାର୍ବନ ଡାଇଅକ୍ସାଇଡ୍ 44 ଗ୍ରାମର ପାଇବା, 44 ଗ୍ରାମର ପାଇବା. Here AMU can be replaced by the gram also. So the molecular mass, this is called quantitative relationship. Number of atoms in the reactant and product side, mass of the reactant and product. These are some qualitative relations. In case of gas, when we are considering the carbon dioxide as a gas, then here the volume of the carbon dioxide released can be calculated from the mole concept subject. We will discuss later stage how the molecular from the mass of the reactant, the volume of the volume of the product or the here say carbon dioxide can be known. So these are some utility of chemical equation. Now then, one thing you have to remember, to have some idea के chemical equation विषय सब कथा जानिया पे हेले प्रथमे आमे करेक्टली chemical equation लिखिबा. नंबर 2 से chemical equation balance करिबा. ए balance करिबा जो गोटे सिंपल इक्वेशन मो वर्तमान देछि आको balance करिया पे किछि नै, एठी गोटे 2 इंटीजर, एठी गोटे 2 इंटीजर हम दे देले, that become balanced. But some cases bigger chemical equations can be also balanced by some other method. Here I given 2 and here I given 2. This is called heat and trial method. परख निरख पद्धति रे आमे chemical equation एटी balance कले जोटा तमे हाई स्कूल स्टेज रे पढ़ी के आसीचो. सो परख निरख पद्धति रे मते balance करिया पय के कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इक्वेशन मानकु टिके ट्रिक अछि, ता भितरे मु गुटी दिटा कथा तुमको एटी आलोचना करिया को चाहूची. Let us see a chemical equation to be balanced. That chemical equation of this type. Now let's say here is C6H6 plus O2, we get carbon dioxide and water. This is a chemical equation to be balanced by heat and trial method. Heat and trial method. This is the simple method you have come across. Here is benzene C6H6. When benzene is burnt, we get carbon dioxide and water. It is not balanced. To balance it, we have to first judge number of each kind of atom in both sides. Again, the number of oxygen atom in the right hand side are there are oxygen atom in 2 formulae. Here in carbon dioxide oxygen, water is oxygen, but here oxygen is once. So in that case, the oxygen thore achi. The sei samay ame kon kariba, this oxygen atom is to be balanced last. And here the bigger formula 6 contains 6 carbon atoms, 6 hydrogen atoms. It can be balanced because carbon and hydrogen are once there. So 6 means we have to give a suitable integer 6 here to have 6 carbon atoms in both sides. Again hydrogen atom 6 means we have to give 3 in this case. 3 into 2, 6. Now, number of oxygen atoms in this case would becomes 6 into 2, 12 plus 3 means 15. Number of atoms of oxygen atom here is 15, but oxygen in the molecular form. So then we have to mind it into the atomic form. If 15 will be there, if 15 by 2 will be there, then number of atoms will be equal in both sides. 15 by 2 if multiplied before oxygen, then we get 15 oxygen atom. So this is the balance equation, but not again correct, because no fractional integers will be given before as a coefficient before the reactant product. कौन सी भग्नांश दिया जाए नहीं कोई balance chemical equation. To overcome that, we have to multiply. आमे दुई जो सबरे गुणी दबा. If we multiply 2 in all, then this fractional number will vanish, and we get a whole number integer before all the molecules or the formulae. Here 2C6H6 plus 15O2, here 12CO2 plus 6H2O. This is the correct form of balance equation of this benzene and oxygen when want to give carbon dioxide into water. This is one of the trick. To have the whole number coefficient, we have to give 15 by 2, and again we have to multiply 2 to give the correct whole number in the reactant and product side. Now, let's say another time. Here, simply you can say, let's say PbS plus O3, PbSO4 plus O2, let's say. This is again the type of equation. Here is given PbS, lead sulfide, ozone gives lead sulfate and oxygen. Here PbS is there, again PbS is there. O4 and O2, altogether it becomes 6 oxygen atoms. Here is 3 oxygen atoms, so just simply multiply 2 here to give 2O3. Then it is said to be balance equation. Let's say go another type, S plus HNO3, H2SO4 plus NO2 plus H2. To balance it by heat and trial method, what we have to, how we have to proceed? किम्दे हमें आगे बता balance करिए पाए. In this case, S plus HNO3, H2SO4 plus NO2 plus H2O. Now, sulfur atom HNO3 likewise. Here HNO3, sulfur is 1, here sulfur is 1, but H is here 1, but here in 2 formula hydrogen atoms are there. But in case of nitrogen 1 and there is 1. So to balance this hydrogen atom, we have to give a suitable integer to have the same number of atoms in both sides. So when you give 2, let's say here is 2 into 2, 4, when you give 4 here, then what happens? 4 hydrogen atom becomes, but 4 nitrogen atom, here you have to give 4 NO2. And here 4H, here is 4H, 4N, here is 4N, but oxygen atom becomes 4 into 3, 12, chakri bar, but here is 4 into 2, 8, into 4, plus 4, 12, and here is 1. So oxygen atom become again unequal. To have that, we have to proceed. As because it is a suitable number 4, you may give 4, 6, 8. Likewise, you have to try to balance it. Let's say give 6 here. When you give 6, then 6H, then oxygen atom is to be remain in form of even number. Jugma sankhya hava darkar, so that oxygen atom balance hava. Now 6, here you have to give 2 here to have 6 into 3, 18, 6 nitrogen atom, here you have to give 6, then you give 6 into to 12 plus 4, 16 plus 2, 18. Here is 18. Oxygen atom become balanced. So as because the number of times of oxygen atom in the product size are more than once, so therefore oxygen atom is the criteria to decide how to balance. Then here one S atom there, 6H, here we got 6H. Now it's said to be balanced. So when even number is indicated, the even number आसुच देखिबा तान आमे ताको से even number रे जुड़का चिपा, then it becomes balanced. Somewhere or other, this hit and trial method is not suitable to decide or to have the balance equation for all type of equations. Simple equation can be balanced by simple integers, but this type of equation needs some other method to help to balance it. These methods are number 2, that is partial equation method. Partial equation method. In this method, the total equation, the main equation, is to be divided into 2 or more parts to have smaller part equations. Smaller part. आमे partial equation part छोट छोट पार्ट अंश छोट छोट पार्ट करिवा बड़ इक्वेशन टाकू जते बड़ जाओ एटा गोटे जाय मीडियम तो एको आमे छोट पार्ट रे परिणत करिवा. छोट पार्ट रे परिणत करिया पई बेटर मेथड होउची रिएक्टेंट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट हम जानि थिबा दरकार. जदि रिएक्टेंट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट हम जानि चंती ताले आमे कोन करिवा ना एइटारु कोन आसी पारे आ एइटारु कोन आसी पारे. HNO3 can give NO2 and H2, that has sulfur atom has no play here. There is no rule to play here. Therefore, HNO3 is to be broken down. First part equations is given like this, that is HNO3 is to be broken down to give NO2 and H2. This is one part equation. Another sulfur is to converted to H2SO4. How it will be converted? Here hydrogen and oxygen are there. Here is also hydrogen and hydrogen. We get 3 product and also 2 reactant here. This main equation is broken down into simple 2 equations now, 2 parts. These are called part equations. Now each part equations are to be balanced. प्रत्येक पार्ट इक्वेशन हमको बैलेंस करने को पड़ेगा. बैलेंस कला बेले दुटा कथा आम लक्ष्य रखा. इफ देयर इज शॉर्टेज ऑफ ऑक्सीजन देन एटॉमिक ऑक्सीजन इज टू बी एडेड. दुटा कथा लक्ष्य करवा. जदि ऑक्सीजन एटम कम बेसी अच्छी ताने एटॉमिक ऑक्सीजन आम ऐड करवा. जदि हाइड्रोजन एटम कम बेसी अच्छी आमे H2O ऐड करिबा. यदि ऑक्सीजन एटम कम बेसी अछि एटॉमिक ऑक्सीजन ऐड करिबा. एटॉमिक ऑक्सीजन मींस O ऐड करिबा. इफ देयर इज शॉर्टेज ऑफ हाइड्रोजन अनइक्वल नंबर ऑफ हाइड्रोजन देन H2O is to be added. H2O is to be added. Atomic oxygen is added. Here H2 is added. How? Let's see. Here HNO3 gives NO2 and H2. Here we have to balance hydrogen atom first because there are 2 hydrogen atom. Dita hydrogen atom each other. Then we do daba so that hydrogen atom become equal. Now nitrogen to make it equal, you have to give 2 here. Now nitrogen and hydrogen both are balanced. How many oxygen atoms are there? There are 6 oxygen atoms are there in the left hand side. So in the right hand side we have to give 6 oxygen atoms. But here is 2 into 2 4 and 1 5. 5 oxygen atoms are there. None can be multiplied here to give 6 because if you multiply 2 here then again hydrogen will become unequal. Therefore only 1 atomic oxygen is added in this side. 1 atomic oxygen is to be added in the right hand side to equalize oxygen atom in both sides. Because oxygen atoms are not equal, then atomic oxygen is added. Now if in this case sulfur atom is there H2SO4 is there. Sulfur means here is another sulfur. One sulfur atom left hand side, one sulfur right hand side is equal. But what about extra hydrogen and oxygen? When hydrogen is in extra or excess or unequal, then water is to be added. Then say how many water molecule is to be added? Then one water molecule is to be added to give two hydrogen atoms. Now again see, number of oxygen atoms are not same. समान नहीं ऑक्सीजन एटम तेणु चारिटा ऑक्सीजन एटम अच्छी गोटे अच्छी सो 3 ऑक्सीजन एटम्स आर टू बी एडेड इन द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड ऑफ दिस सेकेंड पार्ट इक्वेशन सो 3 ऑक्सीजन एटम्स आर टू बी एडेड ठीक अच्छी ताले वर्तमान नाउ बोथ इक्वेशंस आर बैलेंस्ड बट आर नॉट molecular equation, these are atomic equations, and atomic equation is not the correct representation. Therefore, to have molecular equation, both two equations now are to be added up. This equation को हमें add करेगा in the manner such that the atomic form of the oxygen atom, the atomic form of the oxygen atoms in both sides should be cancelled out, must be cancelled out. So then, in order to cancel out the oxygen atom in left hand and right hand side, what we have to do? 3 is here, so we have to multiply 3 in the first part equation so that 3 oxygen atom are cancelled. Atomic oxygen becomes cancelled. Now then we can write the left hand side in the left hand side and the right hand side in the right hand side by multiplying 3 in the first part equation. So here we can write sulfur plus 6HNO3. Here we cannot write water in this side because in our original equation or the given equation, water is present in the right hand side. So water in the left hand side, if any, or any molecule in the left hand side during the part equation are appeared, they must cancel out. They must be cancelled and should be reappeared in the right hand side. So it is to be given right hand side. That means water here you can write here H2SO4 plus 3 into 2 6NO2 again 3 into 1 3 water molecule, but here 1 water molecule is there. It must be go right side so that it will be subtracted from 3 water molecule and remains 1 water molecule or 2 water molecule. And जो 3 water molecule थिला एटी गोटे water molecule right hand side की जाई ताधेरु कटी जीवो because एपटे प्लस होइथिला आर पटे एटा माइनस आबो. So 3 water molecule कटी गला परे आउला 2 water molecule. Now we get correct balance equation in the molecular form. Here we get correct balance equation, and this is the partial equation what I have discussed here. So the given equation is to be broken down into parts, 2 or more parts, and each part equation are to be balanced. And during the balancing, if there is any inequality of oxygen atom, then atomic oxygen is to be added. If there is any inequality of hydrogen atom, then water is to be added. Then both the equations are added in such a manner that the atomic oxygen should be cancelled out to get correct balance equation. This is about the balancing of equation, chemical equation by partial equation method. Let us now consider another one. You have to go through your textbook, a number of equations are there. For example, to balance in the partial equation method. Let's say just a little bigger equation. Here potassium permanganate KMnO4, sulfuric acid HCl react with each other to give potassium sulfate, manganese sulfate, water and chlorine gas is evolved. Here this equation consists of 3 reactants and 4 products. Now out of these 3 reactants, you can see 2 reactants are intact here because KMnO4 and H2SO4 when combined together to give most of the products like this. And here HCl can give Cl2. Then we have to divide this equation into 2 parts again. First part consists of KMnO4 plus H2SO4. That will give a partial part equation, that is K2SO4 plus MnSO4 plus H2O, and here HCl can give Cl2. Now then we have to balance each part equations. For that, here KMnO4, here is K2SO4, 1 K atom, here is 2 K atom. First you have to balance by heat and trial method. Then K2, here is K1. So 2 K atom, here 2 is given as a coefficient. 2 potassium permanganate gives K2SO4, and because of 2, here manganese is also 2 and oxygen are 80. 8 oxygen atom, 2 manganese atom. So to have equalized manganese atom, we have to give suitable integer 2 here. Now then, before balancing this hydrogen atom here or oxygen atom, we have to consider the number of sulfate. Here sulfate atoms are radicals are 1, here sulfate radicals are 2. So total SO4 radicals are 3, which can only come from this H2SO4. So 3 will be given as a coefficient or multiplied, here 3 as integer. Now 3 sulfate is balanced, potassium is balanced, manganese is balanced. Now we have to balance hydrogen and oxygen. So here is 3 into 2, 6 hydrogen atoms. So to have 6 hydrogen atoms, we have to give suitable integer 3 here. Then now this oxygen atom is not yet balanced. এপর্যন্ত oxygen atom balance এইটা balance হয়ে যাচ্ছে আমাদের সাথে, but এইটা balance হই নাই. So here 4 into 2, 8 oxygen atoms. Here we have 3 oxygen atoms. So we have short of 5 oxygen atom here. So for that we have to add atomic oxygen in the right hand side to equalize oxygen atom. Oxygen atom समान करिया पाई 5टा oxygen atom में मिसाइबु पड़िला. Now then this equation is said to be balanced. Secondly, HCl gives Cl2, means 2 Cl atoms are there. Here 1 Cl atom. So 2 integer एठी हमको दବାକୁ पड़िला. Here because of 2 hydrogen atom not there in right hand side, so equalize hydrogen atom we have to add water. So 1 water molecule is to be added in the right hand side. When water molecule is added, then 1 oxygen atom again remain excess there in the right hand side. So to balance that oxygen atom, we can add atomic oxygen in the left hand side. Now both the part equation are balanced, but not in molecular form, rather in atomic form, which is not the correct representation. So to have the correct representation, we have to add these two equations in a manner such that atomic oxygen in both sides should be cancelled out. For that, we have to multiply 5 here to cancel out atomic oxygen, right? Then I'm going to pilot 2 KMnO4 plus 6 H2SO4 plus 10 HCl in the left hand side, and in the right hand side we can get K2SO4 plus 2 MnSO4 plus 3 water. Here is in second part equation 5 water will be added. Here will be 8 water molecules and then 5 Cl2. This is the correct balance equation for this skeletal form. So now let us work out some this balancing of equation and some go through the questions in your textbook. Next class I will switch over to some other method of balancing chemical equation. Then from this balanced chemical equation, how to qualitatively and quantitatively assess some tricky or some simple problems. Thank you.